Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom. Now, we have been talking all about how do you develop your talent. This is going to be our last week diving into talent development before we move on to a different topic. So in this week, I want to do a couple of reminders and throw in a fresh tip. The first reminder is that to truly develop your talent, you need to know your talent. Know your people. Know what they're good at, know what their weaknesses are, know what they enjoy, know what brings them passion. Because what we're good at and what we enjoy, what our passion, aren't necessarily the same things. Understand what fills their buckets. So that way, when you have opportunities arise, you know who would be best for those opportunities. The next piece is a reminder. We need to look for reasons to trust our employees. When we are looking for reasons to distrust, they will absolutely show up. But when we're looking for reasons to trust, we assume positive intent. We look for those reasons that reinforce positive feelings. When you're looking for bad, you will see bad. When you're looking for good, you will see good. And as leaders, it's our responsibility to ensure that we are intentional about looking for the good. We don't ignore the bad. We have conversations around constructive feedback and giving guidance, but we shouldn't be looking for it either. And remember, if you have virtual teams, this is especially true for your virtual teams. It's so easy to create stories about what our teams are doing when we don't see them. So look for the reasons to trust, assume positive intent. And then the last piece is the new piece. Lead to the individual's strengths. I had a professor in college, and it was my second time in college, not my first time. That's important to this story. And I was an A student. At the time, I had a 4.0. I turned in my first assignment, and it was a 0. I turned in my second assignment, and it was a 0. It was an operations management class, a lot of logistics and things like that. It was not my strength, and I was killing myself trying to get an A in his class. And about halfway through the semester, I had a very solid 0. I went into his office, and at this point, I'm crying. And if you know me, I'm not really a crier. And I'm like, Dr. Desai, I don't understand. Why are you giving me these grades? I'm trying so hard. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, why are you spending all of this energy on something that you will at best be average at? Instead of taking all of the energy that you're putting into this, putting it into the direction of something you're already good at and becoming spectacular. And I realized that he was right. My entire life, I leaned into shoring up my opportunities, being the best, even in areas that I would never be the best. And once he put that filter on me, once I started looking at the world to lead towards strengths in others and in myself, it completely changed the dynamic. So when you're asking yourself, what are my team's strengths? Lead into their strengths. Your employees are not broken. Put them in the opportunities that will allow them to shine. And if you're wondering how do you determine what their strengths are, highly recommend Gallup Strengths Finder. It's quick, it's easy, it's $20 to take the assessment. It's really good for you, really good for your team. And if you're wanting to dive even further, reach out to me and we can go further with Core Clarity. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom, all about talent development and tying up our series. Don't forget, know your people, look for reasons to trust, assume positive intent, and lead to their strengths. If you're doing this, it's a really good place to start. Have an absolutely amazing week, and don't forget, as always, you got this. I'll see you next week.